the flesh, but after the Spirit. So the law of righteousness is now being filled in you and I as we exercise ourselves, as we go through the trials of life, as we have our disappointments, as we miss the mark, as we fail, as we get caught in the snare of the fowler, as we get caught not intentionally in sin, but we get caught in some part of our character that is yet to be dealt with by this law of righteousness, and we sin. But the Word says, if we sin, we have an advocate with the Father, that is Jesus Christ the righteous. So if we sin, and we probably will, I would like to be one of those preachers who would say, oh, you'll never sin again. But I don't believe that. Because I know how many times that I fell on my face and sinned just by my attitude. Or just by how I feel about something that has happened that makes me very angry. And then I have to deal with that anger and say, God, forgive me because I just got caught again. You'd think some of us would wise up. You'd think some of us, after a few times, would know better, but we still get caught. We still fail. We still come up short. But if we sin, we have an advocate with the Father, and it is Jesus Christ the righteous. And we walk not after the flesh, but after the Spirit. Verse 5, for they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the Spirit, the things of the Spirit. When your heart and your mind comes in alignment, and this is what God does, He brings our mind, our heart, our body, our flesh, everything, He brings it into alignment so that we can walk in the Spirit and be wise and know that though certainly we're going to stumble somewhere along the way, that we can still repent and get up and go on. That we don't have to go back to the bondage of sin and death and the law. But we have been set free, brother. And you know, our problem is that we look at one another and we say, oh, they haven't been to church for 6 months. They must have backslid. No. You got them under your eye of judgment, which we should not be doing. We should be, if you miss them and they're not here, call them and tell them you miss them. But don't go telling somebody else there must be something wrong because they're not here today. Because we don't know. So we get all of this in alignment. We get everything in alignment, and the Spirit of God can flow through us and begin doing what He wants to do with us and in us and for us. But we are in a wrestling match here. We're wrestling with the enemy. Paul said that he fought with the beast of Ephesus. He wasn't saying that he went to Ephesus and fought with the lions and the tigers and the bears. But he was fighting with the spirit of those things. Because I tell you what, as you read this, and even as we're going through Romans here, this book was written to the church. But it was written in such a way that Paul would not leave condemnation on them. Though he knew they had a lot of problems, and it seems like everywhere that Paul went preaching, the church had problems, but he never condemned them. He enlightened them. He walked in the Spirit. He walked in the law of the Spirit of God and not in the law of law of the flesh and of sin. Because I'm sure that before he was converted, and he was known as Saul, he was going across the country with papers that said, I can put anybody in jail who is serving this Jesus Christ. Any Christian I find, I can have him put in jail, man, woman, boy, or girl. He had that, he was doing that. That was the law of the flesh in him. But when he came under the law of the Spirit, he began straightening or trying to straighten things out in the church. And I've told people, and I've told this church, and I'll tell you again, if you're looking for the perfect church, keep looking because you ain't found it yet. Because we're not a perfect church. But we are in this wrestling match to get us to perfection. And I tell you what, as soon as you get perfect, if you're striving, you're praying, Lord, make me perfect, the moment you get perfect, He's going to take you out. Because you'd be too dangerous to leave here. And I said, Lord, I don't want to be perfect because I understand that as soon as I come to perfection, I'm going to be more of a danger than what I am already. And that's why we don't have a whole lot of, what do I want to say, fellowship and, around the country. It's because we're too much of a danger to them. Tell you what, I won't preach the gospel that is going to leave you a babe in Christ. I'm going to preach the gospel that's going to bring maturity to you, and it's going to be very fast and very quick, because we can't afford to spend a lot of our time bottle feeding or feeding our babes like a bird feeds her babes with regurgitated food. We're going to get you to maturity so you can go out and do what God's called you to do. And that will happen as we walk in the Spirit and not in the flesh. Verse 6 says, for to be carnally minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Right? I vote for that one. Because I want life and peace as much as I can. I want peace with myself. I want peace in my mind. I want the peace in my body. I want the peace in my walk with God. From my point of view, this is not bringing peace to everybody else, only those who want it. If you want this, you can walk in this. You can have life and peace if that's what you are striving for. But if you're going to be carnally minded with everything, then you're not going to have this life and peace. The law of death and sin will rule over you. So don't be carnally minded. Verse 7, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. Your carnal mind. That's why you need to get the mind of Christ. That's why you need the mind of the Spirit. Because your carnal mind and mine is at enmity against God. I would fight you. I remember the time when my enmity was so powerful in me that I would fight you if you even invited me to go to church with you. I would fight you and tell you exactly how I felt about it, because my carnal mind was at enmity with God. And I remember a young couple that badgered us and badgered us and badgered us to go to church with him, and finally said, okay, I'm going to go, and then I can say, now leave me alone, I'm in with you, leave me alone. Then when we went to the church, they were having a revival, and I sat toward the back with Barbara at that time. And the preacher got up to preach and took his coat off like all good, powerful preachers do, and rolled up his sleeve.